It is an ordinary Tuesday morning at 9:15. You are 42 years old, sitting quietly on a wooden park bench, leisurely eating a homemade sandwich. Around you, the world is running at a frantic, breathless pace. Streams of people in crisp suits and ironed collars are rushing into towering office buildings, desperate to clock in on time, driven by the cold fear of being a few minutes late. They do not look at you, and you do not look at them. Suddenly, your phone lights up with a silent email notification. It is a brief confirmation from Human Resources. Your resignation has been approved, effective immediately. In a matter of seconds, you no longer have a corporate title. You no longer hold a safe position on the complex organizational chart. You no longer possess a guaranteed monthly salary. To the economic machinery of society, you have officially ceased to exist as a productive unit. You calmly open your financial application instead. The number displayed on the dark screen is $1,200,000. It is not a flashy pile of cash to show off to strangers, nor is it sitting inside a traditional bank account. It lies completely invisibly in the digital ledger, invested across the broad economy in market-wide index fund certificates. A well-dressed passerby glances briefly at your park bench, records a swift judgment, and sees a textbook example of an unemployed person. To their eyes, you are a permanent casualty who is falling behind in the exhausting middle-class race. They feel a comfortable sense of superiority, but the raw math looks down at the exact same account and says something entirely different. You have not lost. You have quietly won. With that single number, you have successfully bought back every hour of your own existence. You finally own your mornings. To truly understand the profound stillness of this quiet Tuesday, your inner world must now rewind 15 years into the past, back to the memorable day this long, silent journey began with a small choice that everyone around you misunderstood. You are 27 years old. Your monthly income covers basic rent and utilities, leaving very little room for anything else. Around you, life moves in a familiar rhythm. Your friends use credit cards to upgrade to the latest smartphones and book vacations, sharing those moments on social media. They choose to spend money on immediate experiences and tangible items that bring them joy in the present moment. You sit alone one evening and make a quiet decision, establishing an automatic money transfer from your salary account. Every single month, the system automatically deducts $500 to buy index funds that track the entire stock market. You simply hide this money before you have a chance to spend it on daily desires. You choose to eat home-cooked meals and continue driving an old car, quietly adjusting your personal lifestyle. After 19 months of consistency, your investment account reaches $10,200. You open the application, observing the slow daily fluctuations. In the first few months, your hidden portfolio generated just 27 cents a day. Now, based on standard market returns, it averages $2.74 of pure profit each day. Of this total balance, $9,500 is your own principal. The cumulative market profit is $700. You look at a daily return that cannot purchase a full meal, realizing how remarkably small it is. The numbers are perfectly accurate, but the reality is sobering. This amount cannot change a single thing in your current daily life. Then, a quiet contrast occurs at work. Your colleague Greg just purchased an expensive watch with his recent quarterly bonus. During a lunch break, he happens to notice the flat index fund chart displayed on your open computer screen. Greg tilts his head and says, "How long will it take you to get rich accumulating these few percent yield funds? Why do you not buy a watch or go on a trip? You are wasting the best years of your youth living so frugally." You look at him calmly. You choose not to explain the mechanics of compound interest or the nature of buying assets instead of liabilities. You simply say something innocuous, gently close your personal laptop computer, and let absolutely everything slowly fade into the background. You ignore the external noise, step away from their chaotic track, and quietly move on. You are 32 years old. 5 full years have slowly passed with a monotonous, unbroken chain of endless repetition. To anyone looking from the outside, your lifestyle appears completely stagnant. You still live in the same modest rented house, wear the same faded jacket to work, and drive the same old car that has traveled over 150,000 miles. But beneath this deceptive surface of apparent poverty, the raw math tells a completely different story. Your automated investment account has quietly reached $100,000. It is a genuine fortune, yet it remains completely invisible to the eyes of a highly judgmental world. You open the application to look at the exact performance metrics. Out of that $100,000, $71,500 is your own hard-earned principal, saved from years of expanding paychecks. The remaining $28,500 is pure market profit. Unlike the tiny $700 of return from your early days, this profit now feels heavy, substantial, and real. It is an invisible engine generating wealth even while you sleep, a quiet confirmation that your choices are working perfectly. The heavy weight of this social invisibility becomes deeply painful during a family gathering at a crowded local restaurant. Your cousin stands up proudly to announce his latest milestones to everyone at the table. He has just signed a contract to buy a suburban house 30 miles down the highway and leased a brand new sports car. Everyone sitting around the dinner table applauds warmly, celebrating his apparent success and praising his professional maturity. They choose to spend money on immediate experiences and tangible items that bring them joy in the present moment. They look at his visible upgrades as proof of progress. Then, the deepest misunderstanding of your entire life unfolds in the quiet space between the loud celebrations. Your mother gently turns her head to look directly at you, her eyes filled with genuine, suffocating worry. She leans in close and whispers, "You have worked so hard for years. Where did all the money go?" You do not even own a single property in your name? You are still renting and driving that beat-up car. Are you hiding some kind of trouble from me? It is not the lack of money that shakes your inner confidence. It is the feeling of loneliness when the people you love most think you are a failure. You choose to say you are fine, smiling and congratulating your cousin. You silently endure the disapproving glances of your family, protecting the assets hidden in your drawer from the judgment of the world. You choose to ignore the noise. You are 35 years old. You open the application to check the numbers, and the digital ledger shows you have officially crossed the major milestone of $250,000. Looking closely at the precise performance breakdown, you note that your total cash principal stands at $161,500, while your cumulative market profit has reached $88,500. Over the past 3 years alone, your scaled-up contributions of $2,500 a month paired with steady compounding have generated $60,000 in pure, fresh returns. A calm, physiological sensation washes over your body. The numbers are no longer just an abstract concept. They are taking over the heavy lifting from your physical labor. It is a regular Saturday morning. You are slowly pushing a standard metal shopping cart through the crowded aisles of a local supermarket. You look down at the mundane items settling inside your wire basket: a carton of fresh eggs, a gallon of whole milk, 2 large loaves of organic bread, and a bag of premium roast coffee. You pull out your smartphone, open the investment application, and perform a quick calculation based on the standard growth trajectory of your portfolio over the past several months. The shift in your mindset is total and irreversible. You realize that the average paper return generated by your $250,000 portfolio over the past year averages out to roughly $20,000 annually, or more than $1,600 every single month. This food is now completely free. If converted into physical currency, these automated market gains comfortably cover your entire monthly and annual grocery bill several times over. You realize a harsh truth about the economic system. From this exact milestone onward, you no longer need to trade your physical sweat, vital energy, or limited time simply to feed your body's base biological needs. The invisible global market is now feeding your physical form. The primal survival anxiety that quietly haunts every working person dissolves into absolute silence. Your entire monthly salary from your regular day job is now completely liberated from the burden of keeping you alive. It is earmarked solely for aggressive reinvestment back into the index. The rate of your wealth accumulation begins to skyrocket exponentially because you are no longer fighting this financial war alone. The math is working alongside you to build an invisible shield of absolute personal freedom. You are 37 years old. Your automated index investment account quietly reaches the monumental milestone of $500,000. When you open the portfolio application to review the exact, realistic performance metrics, you see that your total cash principal stands at $302,750, achieved by aggressively channeling your corporate bonuses into the market. Meanwhile, your cumulative market profit has reached $197,250. This massive milestone makes your mind drift toward the genuine possibility of lifelong freedom. But that is precisely when the cold economic system tests your psychological resilience with a potentially fatal blow. A severe, unpredictable global economic recession suddenly breaks out across the international financial landscape. The stock market crashes violently without warning. Digital trading screens everywhere are instantly stained a terrifying red with pure public panic as institutional asset values plunge into a freefall. In just 3 short weeks, your accumulated wealth is mercilessly blown away by 35%. You watch in absolute horror as nearly $175,000 of your hard-earned market value completely evaporates into thin air, dropping your total balance back down to $325,000. The immense pressure leads to a near breakdown at 1:15 in the morning. You sit completely alone at your quiet kitchen table, surrounded by an oppressive, heavy darkness, with only the bright, cold glare from your laptop screen illuminating your tired, intensely stressed face. On the mainstream media channels, panicking market experts are constantly shouting that everything will soon go to absolute zero, aggressively advising every ordinary retail investor to sell their positions immediately to save what little remaining capital they still have left. Your phone buzzes repeatedly on the table as well-meaning friends are texting you urgent messages, strongly urging you to withdraw your money before the entire system completely collapses. And portfolio-altering internal battle consumes your mind. Your trembling index finger hovers directly over the digital "sell all" button on the screen. In those 30 agonizing seconds, raw primal fear completely overrides your rational understanding of long-term financial mathematics. You deeply crave the comfortable sense of immediate security that the chaotic crowd outside is defining. You desperately want to surrender your position, just to be quietly recognized by the world as someone who has finally come to their senses and escaped total ruin. Then, the critical reversal occurs within your spirit. You take a long, deep breath, anchoring your mind. You gently close your laptop computer. You do not press the button. You consciously choose to do absolutely nothing. And doing absolutely nothing during that dark, lonely night completely saved your entire financial future. You finally understand that true wealth is never genuinely forged during easy bull markets. It is permanently shaped by your rare, quiet ability to patiently survive the terrifying, silent nights of total market collapse. You are 39 years old. The volatile market completely recovers from its dark collapse, validates your choice to buy heavily at the absolute bottom, and violently soars to historic new highs. Your automated index investment account steadily reaches the triumphant milestone of $750,000. Opening your digital financial portfolio application, you review the underlying performance metrics with total emotional composure. Your total cash principal stands at $458,750, while your cumulative market profit has risen to an astonishing $291,250. The compounding machine is generating massive automated returns. The narrative focus shifts entirely to analyzing the subtle, hidden psychology of power dynamics within the modern corporate workplace. The ultimate test of this psychological transformation arrives on a quiet Friday afternoon at precisely 4:52. Your manager steps abruptly into your personal office space with an arrogant, demanding attitude, coldly instructing you to cancel your personal weekend plans immediately to resolve the catastrophic consequences of a completely separate failed project. 10 long years ago, when your bank account was completely empty, your physiological response would have been instantaneous panic. Your heart would race frantically, your cold palms would sweat, and your chest would tighten with the suffocating fear of losing your employment. The brutal, everyday pressure of basic survival would have instantly forced you to lower your head and submissively accept the unfair demand. But this time, your physical body remains perfectly relaxed. You calmly and silently stare straight into your manager's eyes for 3 full seconds, allowing the uncomfortable silence to hang heavily in the air. You ultimately choose to stay and assist with the project, but that simple nod is no longer the fearful, automatic reflex of a corporate slave. It is the entirely voluntary choice of an equal business partner. Applying the safe withdrawal rule, you know that $750,000 safely secures a dignified life of survival, even if you choose never to work another single day in your career life. You realize the greatest prize of this long, silent journey is not expensive luxuries, fancy vacations, or frivolous material possessions, but a powerful, invisible shield protecting your own human dignity from toxic workplace oppression. By permanently possessing the total, absolute economic security to walk away whenever you desire, you have finally acquired the single most expensive asset in the entire human language, the simple, powerful word no. You are 42 years old. Your automated index investment account has finally reached your ultimate wealth target of $1,200,000. Reviewing the final performance data, Your total cash principal stands at $602,750, while your cumulative market profit has risen to an astonishing $597,250. At this precise point, slow time has entirely and completely finished its quiet explanatory equation without you ever having to utter a single defensive word to the outside world. Around you, the superficial grandstand of modern social illusions completely collapses. Your cousin's luxury sports car has been repossessed by the bank because he cannot afford the soaring floating interest rates, leaving his tired face deeply etched with the constant, visible exhaustion of crushing lifestyle debt. Meanwhile, Greg, who once loudly mocked your personal frugality during lunch breaks, is now visibly struggling with exhausting extra night shifts just to pay off his frozen credit card debt, remaining endlessly trapped inside the relentless corporate office grind. Your positions have now completely and beautifully reversed over these last 15 long years. You still choose to drive your old car and live in an ordinary apartment, but you possess absolute, unshakable mental peace and complete structural life security every day. You seamlessly apply the 3.5% safe withdrawal rule, comfortably selling $42,000 worth of broad market index fund units each year to spend entirely freely without ever touching your core principal. Those who once publicly pitied your simple choices now look at your quiet life in utter bewilderment, quietly asking you for a highly detailed functional map to escape the painful financial trap they are permanently locked in. They finally realize you successfully won the entire race by stepping completely off the track. The narrative returns directly to that quiet park bench on this ordinary Tuesday morning. You stand up calmly, gently brushing off the remaining homemade sandwich crumbs from your plain shirt, and leisurely walk toward the local train station to go home. Around you, frantic people are still hurrying back and forth in a breathless rush, anxiously glancing at their modern watches to clock in on time for work. This story was never really about the volatile stock market or complex index funds. It was always entirely about absolute personal autonomy. When you first start this long, 15-year journey, you think the biggest question is how many numbers you need to accumulate to prove your worth to a judgmental world. In the end, you finally realize the stock market is just a simple tool used to build an unbridgeable gap between your own internal peace of mind and your exhausting craving for the temporary approval of others. Some people spend their whole lives buying expensive proof to prove they are winning a race they hate. Others become free the day they quietly step off the track, leaving the entire chaotic grandstand far behind and completely mastering their own mornings forever.